Welcome back. We now want to wrap up our news review this morning with MPs Yusuf Hassan from Kamukunji, Muthomi Njuki from Chuka Gamangombe, and Jogu Barua from Gishugu. Also with Jonathan Mweke, Deputy Governor of Nairobi. Now, we've discussed NASA and the big headline there. Of course, I know we may continue that debate, but it cannot end this morning. I'm sure it is one of the biggest talking points, whether NASA is right in saying it will tally, it will run a parallel tally of the election results. But let's move on now to another one. And this one is also equally, if not even bigger. And this is the party primaries, which kick off this week. ODM party nominations kick off this week on the 7th of April and will continue because they've staggered. They're going to run them on different days. Jubilee will have their party primaries on the 21st of April. One single day across the country and the job is done. Now, in terms of even the logistics, what was the... because you come from NASA, and I've seen even in Wiper, you've staggered the party primaries. It's not a one-day affair. It is, I think, 2, 3, 4-day affair. What informs that kind of system?
Logistics cost a lot of money. Of course, because of the kind of government that we have in place, we've been stifled money as the opposition. Our candidates have been refused their pension. The political parties don't get the money that is subscribed in the constitution in terms of money of revenue. So we are tied up for funds, and that means we don't have the kind of machinery Jubilee have. Actually, I was asking my colleagues here, where would they have gotten that kind of money to do all those things in one go? It's amazing, but maybe as government they have other places where they go find money where we can't. So it's really a logistical nightmare, and we are saying, since we want to be very sure that we do free, fair, credible nominations in which the person who wins the nomination gets the ticket. We're not interested in any other candidate, just the popular one. We said that we are going to stagger them, do them properly, and leave time before the nomination period ends for verification, for appeals, and so on and so forth. So we are not taking chances. We're just telling our people who are contesting, if you're popular and you've done your groundwork and you win fairly, you'll get the ticket. No favorism.
Okay. Jubilee one day, of course, the plan was, and fears were, and let's go back to when this party is dissolved and merged into one party. The biggest fear was with regard to party primaries. Now it's coming, and the guarantee was that Jubilee will use IEBC to conduct its party primaries. It is being done in one day. We do know that IEBC will not be running those party primaries. Instead, they will only advise. Yes? Are you still confident in the process? I know there are some arrangements at party level, but without IEBC, does that change your level of confidence in the party primaries?
No, I wish it could have been done by IEBC, but nevertheless, we have to get on with our process because IEBC said they couldn't do it. But our leadership tried and was committed to do that. I would still want to give the party leadership the benefit of the doubt that we are ready. But we are all, as candidates, we are all looking to make sure that it's going to be not only fair and transparent nomination process, but it's also going to be peaceful. The fact that they would look after the security of the polling stations, the integrity of the polling on that day, to make sure that those who intend to get a shortcut to the nomination using violence and manipulation are kept away and contained, and to give confidence to a lot of the people in Jubilee who want to vote, because normally nominations are seen to be violent and disorganized. A lot of the mature adult voters stay away from nomination days because of that factor. So I want to encourage people to come out in big numbers to vote for the candidates of their choice in a peaceful way, and for the party to make sure that in fact it stays above the fray, it is balanced, it does not favor any candidate, and may the deserving person win, and we would be all there to support it once we are convinced that it has happened in a fair and transparent manner.
And the headline on the front page of the Daily Nation with regard to this reads that Jubilee has hired 20,000 clerks to manage its nominations, because it's a logistical nightmare. It's like a mini election. One day across the entire country, party primaries. Do you think it will be that easy to manage?
Definitely. I want to state categorically on this station that trying to compare Jubilee's level of organization and the one of NASA. It's like comparing day and night.
But you know, Mheshimiwa, in all fairness, your party is yet to be tested in terms of nominations.
I will justify just what I've said, in that Jubilee is working smart while NASA is working hard, and I'll tell you why. We already have a party in place. NASA has a coalition. When we have people prescribed to Jubilee and they have been paying nomination fee, NASA has several parties. Where Wiper pays different amount, they have their own system. Fort Kenya has different, and ODM has a different one, and whoever else is there has a different system. They don't even have one account where the money goes. So they had to negotiate between Kalonzo Musyoka and Raila Odinga and how much money can we use in the primaries, which system can we use, where can we procure the technology and all that.
Jubilee has the money. That's why
I can tell you that it's not just the money. It's organized money which has a system how it's going to be used and where and when. That is why you are worried about one day vis-a-vis 6 or 5 days of disorganization, because they're still jostling for power, and they still have to navigate their way through those murky waters of who will do what and this and that. They also have supremacy wars in there, because how do you go into primaries where you don't have the top leadership already constituted in who is our party candidate? So with all that, that's a big elephant in the room. So they are not preoccupied with the nominations of the small people here, because even those small people down there are wondering up there what's going to happen.
You know, it's very interesting that you keep going back to NASA, even when we are discussing about.
You asked a very pertinent question. Yes. Why one day, yet the other guys are using 6 days? And that's the question I'm answering. I'm not telling you order, organized, perfect execution. And we are ready, because we believe that for the last few days, we even had the verification of the names and the candidature. Those people who wanted to change positions have changed. And we have only 2 weeks to go, and we fire. It's as simple as that.
Yes. The absence of IEBC, how do you feel that will impact on these party primaries?
I think it would have been better if the IBC had conducted the party primaries, not just for Jubilee, but for even other major political parties, because having transparent nominations is going to be a panacea for good governance in the future. When it comes to the cost of nominations, to me, that's a cost, however high it is, that you must bear. Because if you hold elections, nominations, which are not free and fair, there will be consequences in the future. First of all, you're going to get the leaders we don't deserve, either in Jubilee or CORD, wherever it is. And that's why I'm saying we need to spend as much time and money as possible to ensure that the vetting process is done properly. When you talk about Jubilee doing it Monday, I think CORD or NASA is doing it in almost a month. Because today morning, they are nominating Kidero. He's getting a certificate today. So they are scattered for a long time. I don't think it is because of money. It is because they want to be careful and get the people they want in particular offices.
Manipulation.
It's actually manipulation, and actually it's actually a selection in terms of as opposed to election.
It's interesting that you've gone back to NASA.
I'm coming there. I'm coming there. No, I think the problem is Mweke talks about Jubilee. Don't make questioning. But I'm saying also in Jubilee areas, we have election teams. We have interim officials, like the ones we have in Kirinyaga, will be switched off to another county.
Yes. My question
so
is
that
because we saw the kind of chaos
that
at the branch county election boards. And we saw that in Kirinyaga, in Murang'a, in Nakuru, in Nairobi.
Yes.
With that kind of mistrust and that kind of chaos that we've already witnessed from your party.
Yeah.
What guarantee do you give us?
Because what happened, those were chaos in about 3 counties. And after those chaos, the people who caused chaos have been disciplined. In fact, the people who caused chaos have been removed from being official of that particular party called Jubilee, the one I belong in. Jubilee is not going to tolerate violence. And that is why you're going to have a peaceful one day, 21st of April, nominations, and they shall end up well.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't think you have a problem, not because you have more money at Jubilee than in court, but it's because Jubilee is willing to spend enough money to ensure that they get transparent nominations, as opposed to our competitors who are going for selection.
Now, of course, you mentioned something about CORD and NASA and ODM, and on the front page, not front page, this is Choice 2017, the pull-out for the Standard with regard to these elections. Page 19, 7 ODM governors now get direct tickets. One of them, Evans Kidero.
These are the sponsors of Jubilee, of NASA.
And this question is to Deputy Governor, because now your governor is getting direct nominations alongside quite a number of other governors. Why is this? Probably so that people can understand, because people think that they've just been granted this.
I think direct tickets is the wrong wording. That headline should read 7 ODM governors are unopposed. You know, first of all, I just want to thank our coalition, NASA. You know, Dr. Kidero and myself are in a coalition government. The kind of confidence they've had in us in Nairobi and representing this coalition in the capital city, that nobody within the entire coalition has come up to oppose our nomination for governor. So if you don't have an opponent, you're unopposed, you're not going through an election, so you get your nomination certificate.
And that he will receive this morning?
Yes, we are going to receive that at Bomas of Kenya this morning at 11 a.m. And it's, you know, it just shows the kind of confidence that people have in you, that they don't want to oppose you within the coalition. We're representing the coalition well.
ODM has invited those who have no challengers to collect their nomination certificates today. So these are unopposed. The 7 governors are Mombasa Governor Hassan Joho, Evans Kidero of Nairobi, Wycliffe Oparanya for Kakamega, Josephat Nanok, Turkana, Ahmed Abdullahi Wajir, James Ongwae Kisii, and Amason Kingi of Kilifi. Those 7 governors out of the 7.
But these
how many governors are there in ODM? They have quite a number. Out of 17 governors, but these ODM, 7 of them are unopposed.
These are unopposed in ODM, not in the coalition.
Not in the coalition. This is an ODM, but so in Nairobi,
this is guided.
In Nairobi we are one. That's why I kept talking about Nairobi.
Negotiated democracy, where they say let's not oppose our person in Mombasa. Please don't not oppose.
No, it's just confidence.
And it works.
And they suppress. So that is guided democracy. Don't call it anything else.
It's not a democracy.
In terms of party primaries, and this is ODM. ODM will hold its primaries in Busia and Machakos on April 7th. Then 2 days later in Kisii, Nyamira, Samburu and Trans Nzoia, that's April 9th. Then in Mombasa, Kilifi and Kwale it will conduct theirs on 11th of April. Tana River, Siaya and Kisumu counties will have theirs on 13th of April. In Turkana and Kakamega, 15th of April. Kajiado and Taita Taveta, 17th. Homa Bay, Lamu and Migori, 19th. Nakuru, Uasin Gishu and Vihiga on 21st. They'll go even beyond that, Nairobi, Makueni and Garissa on 23rd, while Jubilee will only have its primaries on one day, 21st. For ODM, I think those are close to 2 weeks of party primaries. Wiper Party will conduct its primaries from 18th of April to 24th of April. That's a period of about 6 days. On different days, different regions. Well, that's it for our news review this morning. I now want to give you a chance to give your final words and the headlines going forward. I know party primaries are huge, away from the usual mistrust and just jabs between Jubilee and NASA. Something to look forward to this week. Let's start with you, Njogu Barua.
As my closing remark, I would like to say that I look forward to the next few days, which is going to be politically very active across Kenya. And I look forward to a situation whereby all these campaigns and nomination processes will be conducted in a peaceful environment across Kenya. I want CORD to be able to do, or NASA to be able to do its nomination in Central Kenya, and us in Jubilee to be able to do a nomination in the other side. Let us not divide our country. I want to say that by the end of the day, after the nominations and after August 8, Kenya will remain. Let us have Kenya, let us have one Kenya, which is peaceful, in absence of violence. That's my wish for this country, and I hope it happens.
I would like to say that bad leadership is put in place by those very innocent Kenyans, good people who don't vote, either in the party primaries or in the main elections. we have to be alive to the fact that in some parts of this country, party primaries are like the main election, because once you get your ticket, and there may be no opposition as per se in some of these areas. Therefore, I would like to ask and urge Kenyans to take the party primaries as serious as they take the main elections. And it's also pertinent to say that there will be Kenya after these elections.
Exactly.
We have a lot of youth who are being used by politicians to cause chaos, to go throw stones, to go and boo others in public rallies. And I would like to ask the youth to desist from being used, because these politicians who are doing this, their children are busy doing business, they are busy doing other things that are not related to elections, and they will not be willing to take their children there to throw stones. And you must be careful. Sometimes you may throw a stone and it lands on your mother. So let them keep off and do what is really peaceful for the rest of the country. And of course the investors are watching, so is foreign diplomats, and the image to Kenya, I mean for Kenya, even out there in the world, is very, very critical around elections.
Okay.
I want to absolutely join the others in wishing Kenyans, whatever political persuasion they may be, to participate in the nomination process, to come out. The democratic process is that the selection, the party selection, determines the candidate you're going to elect at the national election. Therefore, you must pay special attention. I would like people to come out in big numbers for the nomination. I would like our young people not to be persuaded by money or by incitement by opponents. Look at the record of the person that you're electing. Look at the development agenda of the person that you're electing, and make sure that you get someone who can carry your development and your upliftment forward, rather than someone who is going to use the resources that for your development for their own benefit. Therefore, kuwa macho, kuwa chonjo, chagua kiongozi aliyo na maendeleo na agenda ya kuwapeleka mbele.
Okay. Asante. Finally, Bwana Deputy Governor.
Yeah, what I'd like to see this week really is what will happen in the National Assembly as we debate the budget. The budget was read last week, national budget, and of note is that half of the total collections, 1.8 or 1.7 trillion, 1.705 trillion that's collected in tax, more than half of that, or half of the national budget, is a deficit of about 900 billion. So we want the MPs to ask the hard questions. Where will this big deficit that come from, which is more than half of what our total collections? How come we are removing taxes from unga and wheat flour, and yet the prices are not going down for the unga and wheat flour, so that we can cushion the people who are low income earners? And why are we increasing the wage bill while it should be going down? So I just hope that the MPs, even notwithstanding the tyranny of numbers, Jubilee has asked the hard questions on the budget. Last, I'd like to thank Nairobians for the confidence they've shown in myself and Dr. Kidero. Poll that was released yesterday in The Nation shows that even if all the 5 Jubilee candidates together, combined, were together in one team, we are still ahead with 46%. So thank you, Nairobi. We'll continue working for you.
On that note, we wrap up our news review this morning. Thank you so much, Bwana Jonathan Mweke, Deputy Governor, Nairobi; Yusuf Hassan, MP Kamukunji; Muthomi Njuki, MP Chuka Gamangombe; and Njogu Barua, MP from Gishugu constituency, helping us look at the headlines this morning. Remember, Power Breakfast still continues. Willis Waburu, my colleague, is just about to start another session of fitness. As I said, April, things do change. Vindu Bichenjanga is trying out some fitness. For me and my news review panel, it's good morning.